Pamela, and you are listening to Watchmen on the Pod. All right, I thought I was going to do the Book of Psalms first, but no, it come to me Daniel, because I believe that I had said I was going to do Daniel, and I don't think I have done Daniel, so I got to do Daniel. So I will be reading the Book of Daniel out of the 1560 Geneva edition, translation, and here we go. The Book of Daniel, chapter 1. It is written, in the 3rd year of the reign of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, came Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babel, unto Jerusalem, and besieged it. And the Lord gave Jehoiakim, king of Judah, into his hand, with part of the vessels of the house of God, which he carried into the land of Shinar, to the house of his God, small g. And he brought the vessels into his God's treasury. And the king spake unto Ashpenaz, the master of his eunuchs, that he should bring certain of the children of Israel, of the king's seed, and of the princes, children in whom was no blemish, but well favored, and instruct in all wisdom, and well seen in knowledge, and able to utter knowledge, and such as were able to stand in the king's palace, and whom they might teach the learning and the tongue of the Chaldeans. And the king appointed them provision every day of a portion of the king's meat and of the wine which he drank, so nourishing them 3 years, that at the end thereof they might stand before the king. Now among these were certain of the children of Judah, Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, unto whom the chief of the eunuchs gave other names, for he called Daniel Belteshazzar, and Hananiah Shadrach, and Mishael Meshach, and Azariah Abednego. But Daniel had determined in his heart that he would not defile himself with a portion of the king's meat, nor with the wine which he drank. Therefore he required the chief of the eunuchs that he might not defile himself. Now God had brought Daniel into favor and tender love with the chief of the eunuchs. And the chief of the eunuchs said unto Daniel, I fear my lord the king, who hath appointed your meat and your drink. Therefore, if ye see your faces worse liking than the other children, which are of your sort, then shall you make me lose mine head unto the king. Then said Daniel to Melzar, whom the chief of the eunuchs had set over Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, prove thy servants, I beseech thee, 10 days, and let them give us pulse to eat and water to drink. Then let our countenances be looked upon before thee, and the countenances of the children that eat of the portion of the king's meat, and as thou seest, deal with thy servants. So he consented to them in this matter, and proved them 10 days. And at the end of 10 days, their countenances appeared fairer and in better liking than all the children's, which did eat the portion of the king's meat. Thus Melzar took away the portion of their meat and the wine that they should drink, and gave them pulse. As for these 4 children, God gave them knowledge and understanding in all learning and wisdom. Also he gave Daniel understanding of all visions and dreams. Now when the time was expired that the king had appointed to bring them in, the chief of the eunuchs brought them before Nebuchadnezzar, and the king communed with them. And among them all was found none like Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. Therefore stood they before the king. And in all matters of wisdom and understanding that the king inquired of them, he found them 10 times better than all the enchanters and astrologers that were in all his realm. And Daniel was unto the first year. And Daniel was unto the first year of King Cyrus. Chapter 2. And in the second year of the reign of Nebuchadnezzar, Nebuchadnezzar dreamed dreams wherewith his spirit was troubled, and his sleep was upon him. When the king commanded to call the enchanters, and the astrologers, and the sorcerers, and the Chaldeans, for to show the king his dreams, so they came and stood before the king. And the king said unto them, I have dreamed a dream, and my spirit was troubled to know the dream. Then spake the Chaldeans to the king in the Amorites' language, O king, live forever. Show thy servants thy dream, and we shall show thee the interpretation. And the king answered and said to the Chaldeans, The thing is gone from me. If ye will not make me understand the dream with the interpretation thereof, ye shall be drawn in pieces, and your houses shall be made a jakes. I wonder what a jakes is. But if ye declare the dream and the interpretation thereof, ye shall receive of me gifts and rewards and great honor. Therefore show me the dream and the interpretation of it. They answered again and said, Let the king show his servants the dream, and we will declare the interpretation thereof. Then the king answered and said, I know certainly that ye would gain the time, because ye see the thing is gone from me. But if ye will not declare me the dream, there is but one judgment for you. For ye have prepared lying and corrupt words to speak before me till the time be changed. Therefore tell me the dream, that I may know, if ye can declare me the interpretation thereof. Then the Chaldeans answered before the king and said, There is no man upon earth that can declare the king's matter. Yea, there is neither king nor prince nor lord that asks such things at an enchanter or astrologian or Chaldean. For it is a rare thing that the king requireth, and there is none other that can declare it before the king, except the gods, small g, whose dwelling is not with flesh. For this cause the king was angry and in great fury, and commanded to destroy all the wise men of Babel. And when the sentence was given, the wise men were slain, and they sought Daniel and his fellows to be put to death. Then Daniel answered with counsel and wisdom to Arioch, the king's chief steward, which was gone forth to put to death the wise men of Babel. Yea, he answered and said unto Arioch the king's captain, Why is the sentence so hasty from the king? Then Arioch declared the thing to Daniel. So Daniel went and desired the king that he would give him leisure, and that he would show the king the interpretation thereof. Then Daniel went to his house, and shewed the matter to Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, his companions, that they should beseech the God of heaven for grace in this secret, that Daniel and his fellows should not perish with the rest of the wise men of Babel. Then was the secret revealed unto Daniel in a vision by night. Therefore Daniel praised the God of heaven. And Daniel answered and said, The name of God be praised forever and ever, for wisdom and strength are his. And he changeth the times and seasons. He taketh away kings. He setteth up kings. He giveth wisdom unto the wise, and understanding to those that understand. He discovereth the deep and secret things. He knoweth what is in darkness, and the light dwelleth with him. I thank thee and praise thee, O thou God of my fathers, that thou hast given me wisdom and strength, and hast showed me now the thing that we desired of thee, for thou hast declared unto us the king's matter. Therefore Daniel went unto Arioch, whom the king had ordained to destroy the wise men of Babel. He went and said thus unto him, Destroy not the wise men of Babel, but bring me before the king, and I will declare unto the king the interpretation. Then Arioch brought Daniel before the king in all haste, and said thus unto him, I have found a man of the children of Judah, that were brought captive, that will declare unto the king the interpretation thereof. Hold on 1 minute, guys. Okay. Then Daniel went, I said that. Oh, I'm so sorry, guys. I like look away and move things, and then I forget where I'm at. Okay, let me go back to verse 25. Then Arioch brought Daniel before the king in all haste, and said thus unto him, I have found a man of the children of Judah that were brought captives, that will declare unto the king the interpretation. Then answered the king and said unto Daniel, whose name was Belteshazzar, Art thou able to show me the dream which I have seen, and the interpretation thereof? Daniel answered in the presence of the king, and said, The secret which the king hath demanded can neither the wise, the astrologers, the enchanters, nor the soothsayers declare unto the king. But there is a God in heaven that revealeth secrets. And sheweth the king Nebuchadnezzar what shall be in the latter days. Thy dream, and the things which thou hast seen in thine head upon thy bed, is this. O king, when thou wast in thy bed, thoughts came into thy mind, what should come to pass hereafter. And he that revealeth secrets telleth thee what shall come. As for me, this secret is not shewed me for any wisdom that I have, more than any other living, but only to show the king the interpretation, and that thou mightest know the thoughts of thine heart. O king, thou sawest, and behold, there was a great image. This great image, whose glory was so excellent, stood before thee, and the form thereof was terrible. This image's head was of fine gold, his breast and his arms of silver, his belly and his thighs of brass, his legs of iron, and his feet were part of iron and part of clay. Thou beheldest till a stone was cut without hands, which smote the image upon his feet, that were of iron and clay, and brake them to pieces. Then was the iron, the clay, the brass, the silver, and the gold broken all together, and became like the chaff of the summer floors, and the wind carried them away, that no place was found for them. And the stone that smote the image became a great mountain, and filled the whole earth. This is the dream, and we will declare before the king the interpretation thereof. Okay, I'm sorry. I was looking, and it's like, well, where's the gold? Then was the iron, the clay, the brass, the silver. Oh, okay, and the gold broken all together. That's what I want to see. O king, thou art a king of kings. For the God of heaven hath given thee a kingdom, power, and strength, and glory. And in all places where the children of men dwell, the beasts of the field and the fowls of heaven hath he given into thine hand, and hath made thee ruler over them all. Thou art this head of gold. And after thee shall rise another kingdom, inferior to thee, of silver, and another third kingdom shall be of brass, which shall bear rule over all the earth. And the fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron, for as iron breaketh in pieces, and subdueth all things. Excuse me. And as iron bruiseth all these things, so shall it break in pieces, and bruise all. Whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of potter's clay, and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided. But there shall be in it of the strength of iron, as thou sawest the iron mixed with the clay and earth. And as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so shall the kingdom be partly strong and partly broken. And whereas thou sawest iron mixed with clay and earth, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not join one with another, as iron cannot be mixed with clay. And in the days of these kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed. And this kingdom shall not be given to another people, but it shall break and destroy all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. Whereas thou sawest that the stone was cut of the mountain without hands, that it brake in pieces the iron, the brass, the clay, the silver, and the gold. So the great God hath showed the king what shall come to pass hereafter, and the dream is true, and the interpretation thereof is sure. Then the king Nebuchadnezzar fell upon his face and bowed himself unto Daniel, and commanded that they should offer meat offerings and sweet odors unto him. Excuse me. Also the king answered unto Daniel and said, I know of a truth that your God is a God of gods, and the Lord of kings, and the revealer of secrets, seeing thou couldest open this secret. So the king made Daniel a great man, and gave him many and great gifts. He made him governor over the whole province of Babel, and chief of the rulers, and above all the wise men of Babel. Then Daniel made request to the king, and he set Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego over the charge of the province of Babel. And Daniel sat in the gate of the king. Chapter 3. Nebuchadnezzar the king made an image of gold, whose height was 80 cubits, and the breadth thereof 6 cubits. He set it up in the plain of Dura, in the province of Babel. Then Nebuchadnezzar the king sent forth to gather together the nobles, the princes, and the dukes, the judges, the receivers, the counselors, the officers, and all the governors of the provinces, that they should come to the dedication of the image which Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. So the nobles, princes, and dukes, the judges, the receivers, the counselors, the officers, and all the governors of the provinces were assembled unto the dedicating of the image that Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. And they stood before the image which Nebuchadnezzar had set up. Then an herald cried aloud, Be it known to you, O people, nations, and languages, that when ye hear the sound of the cornet, trumpet, harp, sackbut, psaltery, dulcimer, and all instruments of music, ye fall down and worship the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king hath set up. And whosoever falleth not down and worshipeth shall the same hour be cast into the midst of a hot, fiery furnace. Therefore, as soon as the people heard the sound of the cornet, trumpet, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and all instruments of music, all the people, nations, and languages fell down and worshipped the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. By reason whereof at that same time came men of the Chaldeans, and grievously accused the Jews. For they spake and said to King Nebuchadnezzar, O king, live forever. Thou, O king, hast made a decree that every man that shall hear the sound of the cornet, trumpet, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and dulcimer, and all instruments of music, shall fall down and worship the golden image. And whosoever falleth not down and worshipeth, that he should be cast into the midst of a hot, fiery furnace. There are certain Jews whom thou hast set over the charge of the province of Babel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. These men, O king, have not regarded thy commandment, neither will they serve thy gods, nor worship the golden image that thou hast set up. Then Nebuchadnezzar, in his anger and wrath, commanded that they should bring Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. So these men were brought before the king. And Nebuchadnezzar spake and said unto them, What disorder? Will not you, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, serve my God, small g, now nor worship the golden image that I have set up? Now therefore are ye ready, when ye hear the sound of the cornet, trumpet, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and dulcimer, and all instruments of music, to fall down and worship the image which I have made. For if ye worship it not, ye shall be cast immediately into the midst of the hot fiery furnace. For who is that God that can deliver you out of mine hands? Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said to the king, O Nebuchadnezzar, we are not careful to answer thee in this matter. Behold, our God, whom we serve, is able to deliver us from the hot fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of thine hand, O king. But if not, be it known to thee, O king, that we will not serve thy gods, small g, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. Then was Nebuchadnezzar full of rage, and the form of his visage was changed against Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Therefore he charged and commanded that they should heat the furnace at once 7 times more than it was wont to be heaped. And he charged the most valiant men of war that were in his army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and to cast them into the hot, fiery furnace. So these men were bound in their coats, their hosen, and their cloaks, with other garments, and cast into the midst of the hot, fiery furnace. Therefore, because the king's commandment was straight, that the furnace should be exceeding hot, the flame of the fire slew those men that brought forth Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And these 3 men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, fell down bound into the midst of the hot, fiery furnace. Then Nebuchadnezzar the king was astounded, and rose up in haste, and spake, and said unto his counselors, Did not we cast 3 men bound into the midst of the fire? Who answered and said unto the king, It is true, O king. And he answered and said, Lo, I see 4 men loose, walking in the midst of the fire, and they have no hurt. And the form of the 4th is like the Son of God. Then the king, Nebuchadnezzar, came near to the mouth of the hot fiery furnace, and spake and said, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, the servants of the high God, go forth and come hither. So Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came forth of the midst of the fire. Then the nobles, princes, and dukes, and the king's counselors came together to see these men, because the fire had no power over their bodies, for not an hair of their head was burnt, neither was their coats changed, nor any smell of fire came upon them. Wherefore Nebuchadnezzar spake and said, Blessed be the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who hath sent his angel, capital A, and delivered his servants that put their trust in him, and have changed the king's commandment, and yielded their bodies, rather than they would serve or worship any god, small g, save their own God, capital G. Therefore I make a decree that every people, nation, and language would speak any blasphemy against the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego shall be drawn in pieces, and their houses shall be made a jakes, because there is no God that can deliver after this sort. Then the king promoted Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the province of Babel. Daniel, says in the princes, Nebuchadnezzar, king unto all people, nations, and languages that dwell in the land, peace be multiplied unto you. Daniel, I thought it good to declare the signs and wonders that the high God hath wrought toward me. Daniel, how great are his signs, and how mighty are his wonders. His kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and his dominion is from generation to generation. Chapter 4. I, Nebuchadnezzar, being at rest in mine house and flourishing in my palace, saw a dream, which made me afraid, and the thoughts upon my bed and the visions of my head troubled me. Therefore made I a decree that they should bring all the wise men of Babel before me, that they might declare unto me the interpretation of the dream. So came the enchanters, the astrologers, the Chaldeans, and the soothsayers, to whom I told the dream, but they could not shew me the interpretation thereof, till at the last Daniel came before me, whose name was Belteshazzar, according to the name of my God, which hath the spirit of the holy gods in him. And before him I told the dream, saying, O Belteshazzar, chief of the enchanters, because I know that the spirit of the holy gods is in thee, and no secret troubleth thee, tell me the visions of my dream that I have seen, and the interpretation thereof. Thus were the visions of my head in my bed, and behold, I saw a tree in the midst of the earth, and the height thereof was great, a great tree and strong, and the height thereof reached unto heaven, and the sight thereof to the ends of all the earth. The boughs thereof were fair, and the fruit thereof much, and in it was meat for all. It made a shadow under it for the beasts of the field, and the fowls of the heaven dwelt in the boughs thereof, and all the flesh fed of it. I saw in the visions of my head upon my bed, and behold, a watchman and a holy one came down from heaven, and cried aloud, and said thus, Hew down the tree, and break off his branches, shake off his leaves, and scatter his fruit, that the beast may flee from under it, and the fowls from his branches. Nevertheless, leave the stump of his roots in the earth, and with a band of iron and brass bind it among the grass of the field, and let it be wet with the dew of heaven, and let his portion be with the beast among the grass of the field. Let his heart be changed from man's nature, and let a beast's heart be given unto him, and let 7 times be passed over him. The sentence is according to the decree of the watchmen, and according to the word of the holy ones. The demand was answered to the intent that living men may know that the Most High hath power over the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whomsoever he will, and appointeth over it the most abject among men. This is the dream that I, Nebuchadnezzar, have seen. Therefore thou, O Belteshazzar, declare the interpretation thereof, for the wise men of my kingdom are not able to show me the interpretation, but thou art able, for the spirit of the holy gods is in thee. Then Daniel, whose name was Belteshazzar, held his peace by the space of 1 hour, and his thoughts troubled him. And the king spake and said, Belteshazzar, let neither the dream nor the interpretation thereof trouble thee. Belteshazzar answered and said, My lord, the dream be to them that hate thee, and the interpretation thereof to thine enemies. The tree that thou sawest, which was great and mighty, whose height reached unto the heaven, and the sight thereof through all the world, whose leaves were fair, and the fruit thereof much, and in it was meat for all, under which the beasts of the field dwelt, and upon whose branches the fowls of the heaven did sit. It is thou, O King, that art great and mighty, for thy greatness is grown, and reacheth unto heaven, and thy dominion to the ends of the earth. Whereas the king saw a watchman and an holy one that came down from heaven, and said, Hew down the tree and destroy it, yet leave the stump of the roots thereof in the earth, and with a band of iron and brass bind it among the grass of the field, and let it be wet with the dew of heaven, And let his portion be with the beasts of the field, till 7 times pass over him. This is the interpretation, O king, and it is the decree of the Most High, which is come upon my Lord the king, that they shall drive thee from men, and thy dwelling shall be with the beasts of the field. They shall make thee to eat grass as the oxen, and they shall wet thee with the dew of heaven. And 7 times shall pass over thee, till thou know that the Most High beareth rule over the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whomsoever he will. Whereas they said that one should leave the stump of the tree roots, thy kingdom shall remain unto thee. After that thou shalt know that the heavens have the rule. Wherefore, O king, let my counsel be acceptable unto thee, and break off thy sins by righteousness, and thine iniquities by mercy toward the poor. Lo, let there be an healing of thine error. All these things shall come upon the king Nebuchadnezzar. At the end of 12 months he walked into the royal palace of Babel. And the king spake and said, Is not this great Babel that I have built for the house of the kingdom by the might of my power and for the honor of my majesty? While the word was in the king's mouth, a voice came down from heaven saying, O King Nebuchadnezzar, to thee be it spoken, thy kingdom is departed from thee. And they shall drive thee from men, and thy dwelling shall be with the beasts of the field. They shall make thee to eat grass as the oxen, and 7 times shall pass over thee, until thou knowest that the Most High beareth rule over the kingdom of men, and giveth it unto whomsoever he will. The same hour was this thing fulfilled upon Nebuchadnezzar, and he was driven from men, and did eat grass as the oxen, and his body was wet with the dew of heaven, till his hairs were grown as eagle's feathers, and his nails like birds' claws. At the end of these days, I, Nebuchadnezzar, lift up mine eyes unto heaven, and mine understanding was restored unto me, and I gave thanks unto the Most High, and I praised and honored him that liveth forever, whose power is an everlasting power, and his kingdom is from generation to generation. And all the inhabitants of the earth are reputed as nothing, and according to his will he worketh in the army of heaven, and in the inhabitants of the earth, and none can stay his hand, nor say unto him, What doest thou? At the same time mine understanding restored unto me, and I returned to the honor of my kingdom. My glory and my beauty was restored unto me, and my counselors and my princes sought unto me, and I was established in my kingdom, and my glory was augmented toward me. Now therefore I, Nebuchadnezzar, praise and extol and magnify the King of heaven, whose works are all truth, and his ways judgment, and those who walk in pride he is able to abase. Praise God. And that ends that reading for today. And then until later, I'm not exactly sure if I'm going to continue in Daniel or if I'm going to read a little bit of another book. We will see. But until then, keep your eyes on Jesus, brothers and sisters, and your nose in the book, which is the Word of God. And let us embed the Word of God upon the tablets of our hearts, so you and I will not sin against God or be deceived. Have a good day.